Hey, it's Jesse from the Biggest Guys Locker Room. You guys ever thought about starting your own podcast? Whether it be for business, personal, or simply talking about the things you love? Well, I can honestly say when we started our podcast, it was the best decision and it's the most fun we've ever had. But starting a new podcast can be overwhelming at times. And that's where Buzzsprout comes in. Buzzsprout is the best way to start your own professional podcast. They're so good, they've already helped out over 100,000 podcasters get their message out to the world. Buzzsprout offers you so many tools, like a great-looking podcast website, audio players that you can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, and tools to promote your episodes, and more and more and more. Buzzsprout even gets your show listed on every major podcast platform, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. They provide so many tools to help you get started with tutorials on YouTube, podcast tutorials, everything you may need to get your journey started. So if you're looking to start your professional podcast today, follow the link in the show notes. This lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you and help support our show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. Hey guys, it's Jesse with the Vegas Guys Locker Room. Thanks for joining the show. Really appreciate you guys listening. You can listen on every major platform. So please, whatever platform you're listening on, please give us a like, follow, subscribe. It just helps support the show, gets our show out to more people by you doing that. Please leave a review. I know that's a big thing, especially with the Apple podcast. Please leave a review for us. Let us know what you think of it. That also helps us get out there to more people. We're really just trying to spread the show. That's the best way you can support the show. And on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the League Edition again. So really appreciate the time, guys. So just wanted to say a big thank you. Thanks for joining us, and hope you enjoy the show. Let's get it on, guys. All right, welcome back to the Vegas Guys Locker Room, the League Edition. I am joined once again by George. How we doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome.
Yeah, George is joining us over the phone. We're doing a remote broadcast, so hopefully everything comes out great and you guys enjoy the show. Today, we're going to get together. We're going to talk about the league mates. We're going to ridicule and make fun of everybody else in the league. Me and George will exclude ourselves, and we'll just talk about everybody else today.
I like your style. I like.
First off, though, we got to go with the. We're gonna address some of these league questions we had up there for the polls. We looked at. First one was, of course, poll results for the most improved in our Dynasty League, and it looks like big time Sean actually gets the nod on the most votes, getting 3 votes out of the 6 total. So getting half the votes for improving his team since the draft. So kudos to you, buddy. Everybody seems to think you're going to be the one to watch. And then our regular redraft league, the one who was going to cause the most chaos in a landslide was Kevin. Kevin getting 6 out of the 7 votes in that league to cause the most problems in the draft. So, yeah, I think I got to agree with that one. Kevin's going to be the wild card there.
Completely agree with that one.
But anyways, we'll get into it. So here we go. First guy we're going to break down the kid dealer. We're going to break down the MetLife sentence. We're going to look at his team. He's definitely got some question marks. My biggest thing is the man's got 3 tight ends. I don't know what he plans to do with 3 tight ends. I know, hey, listen, you're going to stream them. But, I mean, you got Dallas Goedert. He's pretty solid. I mean, his overall stats year by year, he always ranks 12 to 10. So it's kind of one of those guys that you're going to play on a weekly basis just because where his standing is. You also pick up Pat Freiermuth and Chigga from Tennessee. I don't know about it. Once you got Freiermuth, I thought Chig was kind of an unnecessary pick there.
Is Chig a rookie?
No, Chig's. I think Chig is. I believe this is his second year. Yes, This is his second year. Yep.
I'm thinking it was a rookie. Maybe it was on his taxi squad, but
no. It's he's a second year guy. Had a decent year last year. Where let's see where he ranked up last year. He actually ranked. He was 25 in PPR. He was 25. Standard leagues. He was 21. So nothing miraculous. I mean, looking at his stats, he didn't have any huge games. I think his biggest game of the season was he had an 18-point week just because he had 75 yards. Yeah, well, no, not even 75. Only had 45 yards and a touchdown. That was his biggest game of the year. Oh. So, not somebody I don't think I'm going to use as a flyer just because you don't know what you're going to get week to week from him. And also, that team doesn't throw the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would be looking at, for him, I would be looking at another running back personally.
That's my curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah,
which one do you have the most questions on?
Yeah, I mean, I see Jahmyr Gibbs and Charbonnet, which, have potential there, but he doesn't have anybody. I don't even see another running back on his. He even have another running back on. Oh, he has Devon Chain. So
yeah, I believe he has A-Chain on his taxi squad, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'd be looking to dump that third tight end and go with another running back somewhere. I know there's some decent running backs still out there. Granted, they're running back number 2s or even number 3s, but I know Jerick McKinnon's still out there. Jaylen Warren's still out there. I think Zeke's actually still out there. So yeah, try to find another running back there.
Yeah, especially I'm curious especially with Gibbs. He's got the rookie Gibbs out of Detroit. I don't know how they're going to utilize him. I tend to want David Montgomery more than I would want Gibbs. I think they're going to use it almost like they had it last year with Swift and Jamal Williams. Where they kind of played Swift and inside, in the middle of the field, in between the 20s, and then once they got inside the red zone, it was all Jamal Williams. I kind of see it going the same route.
Yeah, I actually like the 1-2 punch there. I'm high on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's really good. I've seen some good stuff on him out of training camp. And
are you going to get the volume out of him? That's what I'm curious. Are you going to get the volume as a number 1 running on RB1?
I don't know if you're going to get the volume, but I think with him and Montgomery back there, I think it's going to be shared time, maybe 60-40 Montgomery. I get the feeling Montgomery's going to get more touchdowns. That's why I'm saying 60 there. I think he's going to have the more touchdowns. I think Gibbs is going to be really good out of the backfield. I've seen some really nice videos on this guy over the last few weeks of training camp. Incredible talent, this guy. Speed, can catch the ball. So I'm high on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good situation for him.
Yeah. I mean, especially in Dynasty League, definitely Gibbs is going to have much of course, more of a future than Montgomery's going to have. Montgomery's kind of getting towards the tail end, but I think for this year, I think you're right. I think Montgomery ends up with the more touchdowns. I think it is a shared backfield. I'm a little higher, especially like if it's a redraft league. I do like Montgomery, but with Dynasty, right. I do like the Gibbs pick, but.
For sure.
Time will tell on that one.
Yeah, just his overall team, though. I mean, I agree with you on as far as the tight end thing. I would be dumping that third tight end and going after. I mean, he only has 3 running backs on his roster, so I would definitely be looking elsewhere for a running back and dumping that third tight end.
Absolutely. So everybody go and put your bids in. Drive the price. Everybody make sure. Listen, I think a $75 Ezekiel Elliott is in the future for you, Nick. You should just go ahead and match that same bid that RT made on Kirk Cousins. Go ahead and donate the pot. Make sure you get maybe some Ezekiel Elliott in there. Oh, yeah. I mean, looking at everything else, I don't really see a problem with the rest of his team. Maybe something his bench, Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman. I don't know what you're going to get out of those guys. Bateman's always hurt. Elijah Moore. That offense, I tend to feel that he's more of a third option. I think Njoku's going to have a good year, and I think Amari Cooper has a huge year.
I couldn't agree with you more on the Amari Cooper. The Amari Cooper thing. Mm-hmm. I've always liked Amari Cooper, even when he was with Dallas. I just think that guy is solid every single year, and with I guess maybe a more experience. I don't want to say experience, not the right word. With Deshaun Watson coming back and having more experience under the Cleveland system, let's say, I very much like Amari Cooper this year. Yeah,
Amari Cooper. I'm not so sure on Elijah, especially with Cleveland. They run the ball so well. They got such a good offensive line. Chubb in the backfield. I think Elijah Moore's kind of that guy that gets left out.
Yeah, I see he's got questionable also at this point. He's got some hurt there. I heard he got hurt in either in the game or in a training camp injury there. But as far as the starters for Justin Jefferson, St. Brown, Drake London, Jordan Addison, pretty solid. Pretty solid.
He's got a solid core. I'm not. Like we talked about before. I'm not big on the doubling up on both Minnesota receivers. Just because if you get in a situation, if they play anybody and they blow them out, I mean, you're not going to be throwing the ball. So I mean, you're getting pretty empty as far as that. I don't like putting all the eggs with the two receivers from the same team.
Right.
All right. Well, listen, MetLife has still got a little bit more work to do, but I'm thinking that $75 running back pickup is a great option. Make sure everybody put your bids in so that way we can hoard all the running backs away from Nick's team. And we can make sure MetLife has a struggle with the running back situation all year long.
Yeah,
all
Nick,
right, guys.
Nick, leave some running backs for the rest of us, please.
Yeah, he just wanted to make sure everybody else had first dibs on the running backs. Apparently, he just he didn't want to take anybody else. All right, next we'll look at Dave the Jerry, of course, the Nuggeteers of Jerry. Look at his team and what he's got going on. He's got some question marks. He's got a lot like Kadarius Toney. I know he's picked up Dalvin Cook. I know he's got Rhamondre Stevenson, but especially with the Cook and Stevenson situation, now it looks like both of them where it looked like Breece Hall was going to be the stud for the Jets. Stevenson was going to be the stud for the Pats. With Cook joining the Jets and Zeke joining the Pats, it looks like more like a timeshare with the two of them. And with Toney, I don't see any time with him. Toney just seems like he's questionable again. The guy can't stay healthy.
The guy's a tremendous talent. I mean, when he is healthy, tremendous talent. It's just a guy could not draft though. I mean,
no.
He's you don't know what you're going to get out of him, and I don't know. I just think it's a very, very risky pick there. But he's in the perfect offense. If he stays healthy, the guy could be a monster.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see what happens there, moving forward. The Rhamondre Stevenson, Zeke thing.
It's going to be tough.
It's a tough situation there now. I know we were talking yesterday, you and I, you said it was an incentive-laden contract. I don't know. They're not going to sign the guy for $6 million if they're not going to play him.
Yeah.
I'm afraid Zeke is going to be the guy that's going to get those touchdowns,
That's exactly when they sign that. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's going to be a curious way. I think it takes a lot of value away from Stevenson. Don't sleep on Zeke catching the ball out of the backfield. I know he didn't do a whole lot of it in Dallas when you got Tony Pollard there, but he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. He's not a bad athlete. And listen, that's going to take away from Stevenson's value again. So curious to see how that one works out. But yeah, the Stevenson pickup now it's getting interesting there. And then of course he's got the Yeti, Mr. Derrick Henry, who he doesn't he starts off slow. He's got to wait for the seasons to change. He's got to get cold weather.
Yep.
The Yeti doesn't come out in the summer.
Exactly.
So of course Derrick Henry's he's not getting any younger. He's 29. I think he goes into the season. I believe he turns 30 in the season. So I mean for a running back he's definitely at the tail end of his career and his production. So curious to see how that goes.
One guy that did shine, Tank Dell for Houston in that preseason game. He was outstanding. I think he goes for, I don't even know what he went for, 80 yards, 100 yards and a touchdown or something. He was terrific. Could be a sleeper, definitely sleeper pick there.
Yeah, he might want to move him to the active roster before the beginning of the season and just drop somebody and move on and cut bait. Exactly. So yeah, especially with Tony sitting on his bench, I think that could be somebody you could just move away from. I think with KC and their picks, I just think it's going to be a spread offense. I think the only one I can rely on in the KC offense as far as receiver wise would be Kelce. Other than that, you don't know who's going to get the ball.
Agree. I'm trying to figure out if you're talking from a wide receiver standpoint, who's number one?
That's a great question. That's a great question. You don't know. Number one.
You don't know. I mean, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, from what I've seen, he is in some aspect, he's considered the number one receiver on the team. He's the number one guy. The guy wasn't even drafted in our league.
I mean, and you're talking about he's kind of the default number one guy simply on snap count because he's always on he's the guy that's on the field the most.
Exactly.
It's not target based. It's not like he's throwing the ball to him the whole time. No, he's just on the field, which makes him kind of the de facto number one guy.
Exactly.
So
Sky Moore, I have Sky Moore on my team. I'm from everything I've read. I've seen. It seems like he's having a pretty good camp. Looks like he's going to be a slot guy taking over for JuJu there. So I'm hoping I could get something decent out of him this coming year. But yeah, I mean, who's the number one wide receiver there? You don't even know.
You have no idea. I think Kelce has another huge year. I mean, he's going to be 34 So I mean, he's still the projected number 1 tight end in the league. I mean, that's crazy at his age to do it this long. Kudos to him.
I'm gonna say something here. I know I'm probably gonna catch some heat for it, but at the age of 33 and a half, I think you're right. He is going to be 34 during the season.
Mm-hmm.
I could not take the guy in the first round, and I know I get it. The guy has been a monster for years. Every single year, the guy is fantastic. When is the fall off? When is he going to tail off? And that's my, could you get it? I don't think I wouldn't pass on a number 1 wide receiver out there for him. If I get him in the second, definitely in the second. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't take it. I've seen him going as high as 6th, 5th pick in the first round.
I believe that's where his average is going, is 6. That's where his average is going, is about 6, 7. That's ridiculous for a tight end.
In my opinion, it's an overreach. You're just because of age, not because of production, just because of age. I'm afraid of that, fall off the cliff kind of thing. When is it going to happen? He can't stay healthy the guy's been lucky. I don't want to say lucky, but the guy's been terrific for 6, 7, 8 years. I'm just afraid with the age, it's just gonna. Yeah,
eventually it stops becoming easy for him, and it gets a little more difficult. He's not gonna have the same agility because that's been he's been so elusive for a bigger guy with linebackers covering him. It gets him open, and it eventually that's going to catch up to him, and he's just not going to be able to get that separation he's always gotten.
Yeah, he's in the perfect offense. Don't get me wrong. Him and Mahomes are just ridiculous. But like I said, I don't think I could. I know I couldn't spend a first round pick on him.
No,
I got him in the second definitely, but I couldn't spend a first round pick on. I think there's too many, better wide receivers out there that I would have, or even running backs I would rather have in the first round than him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. But yeah, looking at the rest of Dave's team here, he's got some question marks. His 2 receivers, I don't think they're terrible. I just have question marks on them. You get Calvin Ridley, which we've talked about. We think he's going to have a great year. That's still a wild card. There's nothing promising on that. And then DeAndre Hopkins is in an offense, quite frankly, doesn't throw the ball enough. They proved that when they had A.J. Brown, where you were just like, man, you draft A.J. Brown high, and they just don't throw the ball enough for you to get a consistent week-to-week basis. Like, yes, my guy's going to win. That to me is going to be tough. That's a tough situation.
Yeah, plus some competition. Some competition there. Treylon Burks.
Yeah, he's having a great camp.
Having a great camp. Hopkins isn't getting any younger.
No,
was he 30, 31? Not.
He's getting
that's old,
too.
But
yeah.
I think I don't think he's going to have those years like he had in Arizona.
No, absolutely not. And look at what he did. He played 9 games. 9 games last year, 10 games the year before.
Missing some time. Yeah,
missing some time. He didn't look great when Murray went down. He doesn't have. I don't think he's getting an upgrade at quarterback. Not with Ryan Tannehill in that quarterback room. I don't think he's getting an upgrade by any means in that.
Agree with that.
I don't see him getting back to that top 10 level. I'd be hard pressed to say he's in the top 20. Just the way that offense operates.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stats here from his first year in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
160 targets, 115 catches, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. But tailed off, like you said, the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Had some great years in Houston. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Tannehill.
Yeah, not at all. And listen, he had good quarterbacks that could throw the ball, because that was DeAndre's biggest thing, is he could out jump everybody. He could get those 50-50 balls at 31. Usually that's where you need to kind of change your game up and become more of a route runner than relying strictly on physicality. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see. I don't like. I'd be nervous if I'm in those shoes, and that's my top 2 receivers are Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, just because there's so much uncertainty there, and I'd be sweating bullets. So looks like Dave, you got Michael Thomas and Brandon Cooks. Again, those aren't great. You got two number twos. Cook's going to be second option. Thomas his best days are past him. I mean, he's 30 years old and he can't stay healthy. He's been
I
hasn't
like
played
I like the Brandon Ayuk pick though.
Oh, the Brandon Ayuk pick I think is fantastic. I think too many people are sleeping on Brandon Ayuk. I think they're looking at last year, thinking it was a fluke. I can see it just being just as productive as it was last year.
I agree.
I really do. Too many people key in on Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's back, and I think he's really good. I mean, I know he only had that half season last year, but before the injury, he was terrific, and he's back to throwing. I think Shanahan's already come out and said he's definitely our starter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that came out today, I believe, if not yesterday. But Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I would definitely one of those guys. I definitely think I see him rise in the, especially in the ADP, because his ADP right now, I think they got him going in the 9th round is where they usually got him drafted. I think he starts to go up a little bit more.
Agree, absolutely.
So definitely some work there, Dave. You got some question marks. I'd be a little scared. But all right, well, next one we'll take a look at. We'll take RT's team RT88. His biggest question, I mean, it's the elephant in the room, is the Jonathan Taylor situation going on.
Yeah, that is an ugly situation there. And I know they said he came back to camp yesterday on the sideline, still rehabbing the ankle. You know, if it's actually ankle, who knows?
Yeah,
he's saying he wasn't hurt. Team saying he was hurt. A lot of rumors, a lot of banter going back and forth between management and him. That could turn into a really ugly situation there.
Oh, absolutely.
Do I think he plays for Indianapolis this year? I do. I do think he does play. Matter of fact, I think he's going to be on the field here in the next week. That's a definite question mark for RT's team.
Yeah. And you know what? Hey, I like how he kind of stuck to this. This is, I don't know if this is coincidence but for a guy who dates a girl named Q, he's got all the Qs on his team, because I just look by everybody's name. He's got Q. So, hey, RT, kudos if you tried to pull that out, man. I like how everybody on our team's got a Q next to it. Hey, it must be good luck, buddy.
A lot of questionable players on our team. Kenneth Walker questionable, Cooper Kupp questionable, Devontae Adams questionable, George Kittle questionable. Yeah, that's funny.
I gotta love it. But hey, listen, I think Devontae Adams. It's gonna be curious to see what he has, because I believe I saw the stat. The past 5 years, he is the leading fantasy scorer for the last 5 years. So the guy's always been dominant, but he is getting up there in age. And now with Jimmy Garoppolo coming in as the QB, I know he wasn't happy about Derek Carr's exit and the situation with Josh Jacobs. I don't see an end in that side. I think Jacobs is going to hold out as long as it takes.
I don't know on that one. We're just going to have to wait and see there. I haven't really read anything up, as far as Josh Jacobs. I get the feeling he is going to play. I think he's going to sign the franchise tag. Devontae Adams, the guy's solid every year. Granted, he doesn't have Derek Carr, but he's the key receiver. He's clearly the number one receiver on that team. Absolutely. I like the guy.
Yeah, I mean, for the rest of his team, Cooper Kupp solid. Kenneth Walker, if he can stay healthy, he should be fine. That right now questionable, but I think most of this is all just everybody playing it safe. They don't want to risk any of their starters. Now he's got Alec Pierce, the number 2 receiver out of Indianapolis. I think you can probably drop him now that you got that the rookie has been named the starting quarterback.
Yeah, Richardson. Yeah,
Richardson's been named the starter. I don't think you need to keep Pierce on your team. I think that's listen. He looked like he could be up and coming from last year. Solid year for a rookie, but I think with another rookie quarterback, I don't see him getting any volume there. So I think that's a person you can definitely drop.
Definitely.
Kamara. Yeah, he's got his 3-game suspension, but I like that pick. I still like it, even though it's 3 games. It's still a solid playmaker. They're going to get him the ball.
No doubt about it. That guy's terrific.
Has
a lot of.
That's really the only thing. Only question marks I really see on his team. Not too much. Not too shabby there, buddy. All right, we'll move on. We'll look at Rooks, which is the team Rooks. We all know that's Mr. Lee's team. His team. His team. I have question marks on. I don't trust the receivers. He's got a number 2 and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, if he can stay healthy again, like I said, what fears me at him is his age and the fact that he's getting injury prone late in his career. And with the addition of the new rookie out of TCU, was it Quentin Johnson? How much does his target share go down even when he is playing?
Good point.
I do like he's got the Amari Cooper. I love that pick.
Love the Amari Cooper pick. And I know the guys are number 2, but I love Devonta Smith. I'm looking here at this guy's stats. Last year, 136 targets, 95 receptions, almost 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. As a number 2, take that all day long. And
his best work came late in the year, too. His best work did come late in the year. Week 16 against Dallas, 12 targets, week 17 at 13 targets.
Yeah, I actually had him last year in the league, and he really helped me like down the stretch. The last 5-6 weeks of the season, he was terrific.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of high on Devonta Smith. Obviously, the Amari Cooper pick I love. I love Amari Cooper. JuJu, I mean, I'm looking at his bench. JuJu in a bad offense. New England. Marquise Brown for Arizona.
QB.
And no quarterback.
Algiers probably playing second fiddle. Deontay Foreman, that looks like that's Khalil Herbert's team.
Absolutely. After watching the preseason game, it's definitely
it looks like Herbert's team. And of course, the big question mark is Mr. Lamar Jackson, his one and only quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, that's a little scary there.
I mean, I get it. You went big with Lamar Jackson. It could be a huge year for him, but I mean, you look at it, the last 2 years he hasn't played full seasons.
Yeah, I'm looking at his taxi squad too, and there's actually 2 players on it that I really like. Luke Musgrave, tight end for Chicago. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Tight end for Green Bay. I really like him. I've seen some stuff on him. I actually had a really good preseason game the other day. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he played pretty well. And the guy I really like is Zay Flowers for Baltimore. They say this guy has just been off the charts.
Yeah.
Better than they even expected. And so I really, that's a really good spot, I think, for him in that offense, and a great pick, I think, for Lee. So
yeah, I mean, he's got, of course, his running backs. I like his 2 starting running backs, McCaffrey and Jacobs. If Jacobs comes back, he's going to be solid. If he doesn't, I think he might be in a little bit of trouble because the only thing I see on his bench is Foreman and Algier. So.
Right.
So question marks there. So a little bit of work, a little concern, but overall, I really like Lee's team. I really do, especially with Najee. I think Najee's going to have a nice bounce back year.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. Me being a Steeler fan, been kind of obviously following their training camp. Saying it's probably going to be about a 60-40 split there with Jaylen Warren. Najee getting majority of the carries, but Jaylen Warren is going to be very much a part of that offense. They're going to. I think he caught around 40 passes last year out of the backfield and ran the ball pretty well. Definitely a solid backup to Najee. So that might be something he might want to look into, maybe get rid of.
I mean, and everybody called it a bad year for Najee. I mean, even in a bad year, he was still He was still good. In PPR league, he was number 14. In standard league, he was 12. I mean, so it was still a solid year.
Exactly.
So I mean, if he can improve in that means he's a top 10 running back. So I like the pick up there. So kudos there.
For sure.
All right, we'll look at Brian's team. Of course, he inherited this one from Steve's auto draft, and he's another victim here. He has the Breece Hall, which I really liked, but now with the Dalvin Cook signing, it's kind of dropped down in my rankings. I don't think Breece Hall is going to be the dominant player he could have been had it just been his backfield with the backups he had. So that's my biggest scare with that team is Breece Hall. Is he going to be worth what? Didn't he pick him up in the first round or let's see? I believe he picked him up. It was a second pick.
Yeah, second pick with the Dalvin Cook signing. I mean, that tells me that because I don't believe Breece Hall is practicing yet.
No, he just got cleared off the PUP list today.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, I mean, when is he going to be back? Really full strength. Even if he gets in, let's just say they bring him back in week 2 or 3, where he's actually playing and being the full-time starter. I think Dalvin Cook is definitely going to cut into his playing time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, they didn't.
How much coming off an ACL injury? Those injuries usually take a year and a half to fully recover.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got to believe that's why they signed.
Yeah,
Dalvin
Cook. Dalvin Cook got a good base salary too, so it wasn't like they signed him for peanuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it was about 8.5 million, 8.6
yeah, as
million.
I think the base salary, I think is it 3? I think it was 3 or 4 where his base salary was. So I mean, still a solid base salary that he got out of that. So definitely they're going to use him. They're not going to pay him that money to sit in the bench.
Exactly.
Question marks at receiver. Yeah, there's some tough ones. I do like the DJ Moore pick now. I think they're going to find ways to get DJ Moore the ball. I just think that's what they're going to do. I think that's why they went and got him. They're going to find and manifest ways to get DJ Moore the football in Chicago, just because I don't trust Fields as a quarterback. But if you run short routes, it's hard to miss. and run gadget plays.
I watched the preseason game the other day. It was like they had played together for 5 years. Yeah. These guys. It was awesome to watch. I'm a DJ Moore fan. I liked him in Carolina. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm afraid of the Fields situation there. I'm not a big Fields fan, but we'll see what happens. They're going to be more improved than last year. Let's say that. Course.
I think what Fields had, he had the 2 touchdowns with Herbert and Moore. What was it? Over 100 yards. But if you counted just the air yardage for the ball, I think it was a total of 3 yards that he had to throw the ball because it was 2 screenplays.
Exactly.
Other than that, running backs, of course, Mahomes. He made that trade. Mahomes is going to be solid. Kyle Pitts, another question mark. The guy's so young, so athletic, but you've been hearing it for the last 2 years, and he hasn't done anything.
I think that's another offense I think is going to be improved with Bijan Robinson. Just him being on the field is going to I think it's going to open up things for Kyle Pitts. Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good pick there.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely improved this team from what he had from when Steve did the initial draft. So
a guy I would maybe be looking to get rid of or at least go a different direction would be his backup quarterback, which is
Trey Lance.
I think there's a few guys out there that are real. You go pick up a number 1 guy. Trey Lance right now is number 2. How much playing time is he going to get? Yeah. Go pick up a sleeper guy that's out there. Maybe, Kenny Pickett. I think is available. I think he could. Kenny Pickett. Granted he only threw 12 touchdowns last year, but could he throw 20 this year? I think he could.
I think he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a decent year. They improved that offensive line. I think the running back gets on pace. And listen, they still have some stud receivers there. And you've got the ultimate decoy receiver in Allen Robinson because he runs the most routes and never gets thrown the ball. So he's a great decoy.
Never exactly.
He's on the NFL's all cardio team.
I think the Pickett to Pickens connection I think is a real thing. I don't think it's more of a training camp thing, or I think that's a real.
I agree with you.
I think that's a real connection there.
Absolutely.
And then you throw in Deontay Johnson, you throw in Freiermuth, Allen Robinson. Like I said, that offense to me is, granted, they're not the greatest offense in the world. That we all know that. But I just think if I'm looking to try to get another quarterback, or especially in this situation where Brian has Trey Lance, I'm probably dropping him for sure, and I'm going with Kenny Pickett, or I don't know who else is out there. I knew Kenny Pickett was out there. That's why I said his name, but there's got to be better options. So I think Carr's even available.
He might be available. I'm not sure if anybody picked him up, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's still looking good. I mean, we knew that was the lowest graded team going into it, but definitely has made some improvements. Got himself some decent picks. I know I like the Mahomes pickup. That was a pretty good trade. I think he made a good deal there, just to get some more options. But yeah, still a little work to do. But looking far better than he did the draft. So
agree for sure.
All right, now we're gonna break down Team Natan here. Nathan's pick. He also auto drafted. Loved it, of course. We talked about. We loved his running backs with Eckler and Barkley. Everything else is a question mark. I mean, I like the Higgins pickup. You got the tie. You got the stack with Burrow. Other than that, I mean, is there anything else? I don't like anything else on his team. Just Khalil Herbert on his bench.
I actually like his team. I'm not a Rondale Moore fan.
No.
Out of Arizona, he has to point and throw to him. I've never been a fan there. I think Jerry Jeudy's an excellent pick.
I don't know. But looking at that preseason game, God, they can't block.
Well, I mean, there's going to be some issues along the way, but I just, you're talking about a number 1 guy in an offense with Russell Wilson. Granted, Russell Wilson didn't have a great year last year. Maybe with Sean Payton coming in, maybe, they're going to improve.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because Jeudy was such a great. I mean, he was drafted before several guys that have. Let's see, who did he go before? Didn't he go before Jamar Chase? No, who did he go before? I can't remember that draft now. I believe he was the first receiver taken. And he went before a lot of big names. And I believe it was Jefferson and Jahmyr Chase, I believe, went after him.
Not sure. I'd have to look that one up. But I look at his running backs. Eckler, Barkley, I like. Ingram, the tight end with Jacksonville. That offense is going to be much better. Pittman, I'm not a fan of just because of that offense. But T. Higgins, can't go wrong there. That guy would be a number one on any other team. He'd be number one on that team if it wasn't for Jahmyr Chase. He'd be number one receiver, and he'd be number one on the majority of teams out there. I think he's that good. Oh,
absolutely. I totally agree. He could be. It's insane to see him. I mean, it's great to see him there, but that's not going to last forever because he is going to want to go somewhere, and of course, get his money. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find out where Jerry Jeudy went. Oh, okay, he went before CeeDee Lamb. He was in that draft, but yeah, he did go before Justin Jefferson, and he did go before CeeDee Lamb. That's the two guys he went. Jahmyr Chase was the year after, but yeah, he went before CeeDee Lamb and Jahmyr Chase. and Justin Jefferson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just looking at the rest of his roster, I like his bench. I mean, Deshaun Watson. I'm high on Antonio Gibson this year in Washington. I think he's going to catch a lot of passes in that offense with Bieniemy being the offensive coordinator there now. Jamal Williams, Monte Williams in Denver.
That's another guy coming off of me. I'm curious. They keep saying he's 100%. And I'm going, what? He suffered that late in the year. There's no way he's 100% by now.
They're saying he's going to play in this game coming up in the preseason. So curious to see what he looks like. I'm glad I have Samaje Perine. That's all I know. I got him on my bench. I'm glad I have him. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this guy performs. They say he's looked good in camp so far. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And he has Khalil Herbert, pretty solid there. And I'll be honest with you, his taxi squad, though, I'm very high on.
What?
Jackson Smith.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's not in his starting because that guy's going to be. I think he's going to be that slot guy, and he in a PPR league, he's going to put up huge numbers.
I agree. I think the guy could challenge for Rookie of the Year. I think he could.
Absolutely, 100%.
Metcalf and Lockett. Somebody's going to have to cover those guys. It just opens up. It opens up a spot for him. And Sam Laporta in Detroit. No other tight end there. I think he's clearly the guy. They like to throw to a tight end a lot there. So I think that's a really good pickup as far as, a rookie because we're in a dynasty. And then Tajay Spears, he's clearly the backup for Derrick Henry.
He's clearly the backup, absolutely.
That's not getting any younger. He's missed some time over the last couple of years. I really like that, that pickup for him. So we'll see what happens. But I kind of like it. Nate's team. I don't like
the Moore. I don't like Pittman. I'm getting a little worried on the Ingram situation just because the target share where now you got Calvin Ridley and you've got a plethora of receivers and weapons in that field. I'm a little worried about the Evan Ingram tight end situation there.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, I think that's just an explosive offense. And granted, they're not going to, maybe they don't throw it to him as much as they did last year, but I still think that's a very solid pick as far as the tight end position.
I think you're going to be touchdown dependent with him. I think that's where you're going to have to get the touchdowns out of him.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to move on to the final team, and it's the Asian sensation. This is Kevin. His running backs are suspect. I mean, I'm curious on him. There's a couple question marks. Love his receivers, though. Jahmyr Chase, Garrett Wilson. I can't believe that Sean made that trade to trade away Garrett Wilson, but hey, I mean, kudos to Kevin working that deal out because he's got Jahmyr Chase, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens.
That's a solid wide.
That's a great wide receiving group you got going on there.
No doubt.
I mean, of course, he's got Kelce going there too. He's got Travis Kelce on at the tight end. He'll get targets. I don't know if he's going to have, like you said, especially in a dynasty. I don't know if I want to be the guy holding on to Kelce when the bottom drops out.
Right.
Pacheco, he's still kind of a mystery to me because
he's coming off some injuries there, hand and I believe.
CEH did not look good. I mean, he looked pretty good in that preseason game. I think somebody wants their job back.
So. I think this is Pacheco's position. He's clearly number one guy there. Yeah, he's coming off hand and shoulder injury, both surgeries there. Didn't play in the first preseason opener. So we'll see. So if he gets some playing time this week.
Yep. I mean, looking at his bench, like you said, the Kareem Hunt, AJ Dillon, I'm not big on. I think last year he should have been the most promising year for him, and he didn't really come through. Brian,
I actually like the
Brian Robinson because I think he's going to be the workhorse. I think you're going to get plenty of snaps of him. I think that team runs the ball quite a bit, like you said, and finds ways to get these guys the ball.
Yeah, if I'm Kevin, I'm looking maybe if you can find some trade bait there. I may be looking to trade maybe Pickens
to pick up a running back.
I'm trying to pick up a running back.
Yeah, his running back. I mean, Cam Akers and Dameon Pierce. Listen, they were great. Akers was good towards the end of last season. Pierce was big at the beginning. It's tough with Dameon Pierce because you got a new regime there. You don't have the draft capital to be the guy, so I mean it doesn't hurt them to move on. And towards the second half of the season, he fell off. I mean, he really did fall off, and you got a lot of question marks at the quarterback position. So I don't know if you just key, because that's what they did last year. Just key and stop him, and you stop the offense.
I see he has Kareem Hunt. Is Kareem Hunt resigned anywhere?
No, remember, he's doing the league-wide tour. He's just going to visit everybody. Apparently, he just wants to visit. Yeah. He's like the kid in high school who's going on college tours. He just wants to see the campus.
Yeah. If I'm Kevin, I'm looking to maybe trade, see what you can get for.
Yeah, you might have to trade away one of those receivers to see if you can get yourself a running back.
Yeah, these quarterbacks.
He's got Josh Allen and he's got Jordan Love. I like both. I think Love is going to have a good year because the Packers waited for Aaron Rodgers to leave to finally, fill the plethora of weapons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some good receivers there. Good running game, still solid defense. Green Bay might still be.
Yeah. Jordan Love might have a good year. He's looked good in camp. Everything, all the beat writers are saying he's looked great in camp. He looked good in the preseason game.
He did. I did look good.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he has a solid year this year. Spending that time under Aaron Rodgers. I mean, everybody had the same questions when Rodgers took over for Favre. Was he going to be was he going to be able to pick up the slack? And hey, listen, Green Bay does this a lot, and it's worked out for him. I mean, they've essentially got 3 decades of great quarterbacking. So
exactly. Yeah, they've done well in that position, no doubt.
So yeah, definitely some moves to make there. Yeah, you might want to dangle some trade bait with one of those receivers. Probably, like you said, probably the Pickens deal. That means George is willing to listen. There, Kevin. He's willing to listen to trade.
I'm always willing to listen. Always willing.
So, all right, well, guys. Well, that'll do it for our show for the day. George, thanks for joining the show. I know you got things to get done today, so appreciate the time. And we'll get to you together next time, and we'll do our other broadcast for our main show.
Definitely enjoyed being here. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next time, guys.